Welcome to episode 41 of our board game podcast, The Master's Degree in Rolling Terribly. I'm your host, Eddie. Joining me as my co-host, a man who I believe has made the most correct choices in all events occurring within Frosthaven compared to the rest of the world, Gaz. Say hi, Gaz.
Hi guys. That's not me claiming that.
No. I think I'm claiming that. I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that
Okay.
you're on the money most of the times, and when we've gone the other way, when it comes to a lot of events, we've kind of been like, oh, I think Gaz had the right one, right?
I think gold comes to mind, but that's about it. So
You have an uncanny ability to just know, especially when I'm like, this is a coin flip. You're like, well, hang on, it's not. It's really not. I've done the math and it's not.
I've always felt like in life that I got like a 60-40 chance on a coin flip. Like I just had some talents. I have slightly better odds for some reason, even when it's a 50-50. So maybe that's just it.
Well, in the
Better
balance
luck
of the
than-
world, does that mean someone else has been gifted with a 40-60?
Probably. And I reckon there's someone out there that's 0-100, right? Like someone's just worst luck in the world. So don't play Frosthaven.
It's funny actually because I actually googled our podcast once, but I used the full name, A Master's Degree in Rolling Terribly, and some of the Reddit threads are like D&D threads, and it's just threads of people going, I literally don't know what to do. I've got the worst luck ever imaginable. I just can't roll well, and I'm just like, what do you do? Like,
Yeah. I mean, Mark just doesn't play dice games, right?
that's right.
That's it.
So last week, we had a little mishap, and it was brought to my attention that we did a road event when we shouldn't have, because we did a scenario in Frosthaven with Phil and I. He's PQ just at the moment anyway, with the very first one, the invasion of the docks, which is in Frosthaven, and we did a road event, which meant this week we did not. That was the only thing that was really kind of pulled up from that. And it was like weird.
When I'm not there, everything falls apart. You start cheating, like just,
Exactly.
don't follow the rules.
It's
house rules.
really funny you said that, because when Phil and I were sitting there doing the 2-player scenario, he said to me, "Oh, you and I are now going to be like fully dependent on each other to get this right." And I'm just like, "Yeah, that's actually that's a weird feeling. I feel like the adult has gone and the kids are left to their own devices." And I just said, "Look, we have to go through this really slowly and really deliberately to make sure that we are doing all the correct things for monster movement, etc." It was.
I mean, it took me 20 weeks to figure out how Monster Focus works. I think every single time it was different. So I don't know if I'm any kind of authority on it, but yeah.
Yeah, you are. So yes, the other thing I want to announce, we have a Discord, and we've just recently, it was my personal Discord that I was just using for my friend group and all of that. I've slowly over time started to convert it into an amDirt Discord, where there are like dwarfs in there having chats. You can ask him all sorts of rule questions you want to there instead of directly. He loves it, especially if they're FAQ related, but you haven't checked the FAQ. So what I'm planning on doing is it's kind of slowly opening up. I'm not going to put the link somewhere because I don't quite know how spam bots work and whether or not they just go, oh, there's a link there, let's just, But if you wanted to jump in and just say hi and be a part of our very small community, it's very small, send me a DM or an email or in a YouTube comment, because this will also go up on YouTube or whatever. I'm happy to post you the link straight to the Discord as well. You can find me as Daddy D3TTY, also in the Frosthaven Discord as well, if you wanted to just send me a direct message there. But no, it'd be great to have more people in there. We sit and channel a lot of the times and talk crap and play Dota and post a lot of stuff. So yeah, then that'd be cool.
I think the other thing, just as a caveat, because this is one of the reasons we were not nervous but cautious about doing this kind of thing, is spoilers. Like obviously the Frosthaven Discord is heavily moderated by Dwarf and a bunch of other people that do a great job of that, right? And there's a really good community around making sure that you don't spoil things. I think because we're all going to be at different stages for this, I think it's probably more of a place to come and chat about stuff, right? And they can be Frosthaven related, but not like, oh wow, hey, I just did this scenario and it was really cool, and these are exactly how it works, and this is the the spoilers that make you win. It's not kind of a place for that.
No.
So and we'll just kind of see how it evolves.
Yeah,
right? Like get more people in there and build a community until there's too many people and it gets toxic. So
yeah,
that's what happens in every community.
And then we made it, right?
Yeah, it was like, hey, this is our toxic community.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
On today's episode, we're going to be covering scenario 111. That is 111, Ice Cave. We have an absolutely incredible, memorable outpost phase. And we also have a couple of listener questions, which I'm just going to throw to Gaz, actually, because they're actually for Gaz.
Hey.
There you go. So,
Did you make them up? You're like, Gaz, why are you so terrible? From unknown.
unknown at
Unknown at,
unknown.com.
yeah, daddy.com.
Yeah, look, maybe. That's a great
Maybe,
idea. I
yeah.
didn't
Yeah, I actually completely forgot about that. When you said really memorable, just hype it up, right? Clickbait, best outpost event ever.
Yeah. And what I'm going to do for this episode is actually, instead of recording it in amDirt Raw, we're just going to cover it a bit towards the end, at the very end, so that we'll announce it's actually regarding Summer Outpost Event 53. And also that again, when we get to that particular part, and maybe drop a hint. Because some people, if you're driving, you may not be like, oh, have I seen it? Have I not? I'll hint towards it during that stage. You stay to listen to it. The rest will be finished after that anyway.
It's interesting because I think we can actually discuss it quite well without giving away spoilers.
It's true.
Because if we just don't talk about the decision,
Correct. Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, people can look forward to it and know about it, but not, yeah. So anyway, that's a good idea.
So scenario 111, Ice Cave. This was a random side scenario that we got from an item that was probably from a chest or event reward or something like that. We followed a mirror that we found that opened up this random side scenario, and we head super north, following the mirror towards, you know, a treasure that we're suddenly feeling apparently, but it leads us to a cave, and there's a wall there, you know, of ice, right? And we're looking into our reflection, and we're all looking like really dead and rotten, and apparently this upsets us, so we black out. And then when we awaken, we discover the mirror's cracked, so we drop the mirror, and that's never a good thing. Or maybe it hasn't been discovered as a good thing back then. I don't know. Maybe it's a now thing.
Well, did we just coin it? Like just
maybe. We invented it. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And then we look again at the wall, and we think we see ourselves, but actually we don't. It's actually our companions. And then we, you know, during the mishap and worrying about what's going on, we walk away and we suddenly feel a real bad burning sensation. It kind of hurts. Only when we return to our original spot opposite our companion do we feel back to normal again. And then suddenly we get attacked by wolves and frost demons. And that is the setting for this particular scenario. The road event, do you remember what the road event was? Oh, we didn't do one, Gaz, so you don't have to remember it. Oh, you literally were just thinking about it.
I was like, no, I don't. But how can I lie about this and buy myself some time?
No, we did not do one. Scenario goal, the scenario is complete when all characters have escaped. I gotta say, I do like these.
Just on that quickly, that's because, like Daddy said earlier, they did one when they shouldn't have when they went to Frosthaven. So this time we just didn't do one so that we were back to equilibrium. Just so we don't get more people going like, no, you have to do one.
No, you have to do
Yeah, no, we understand. Okay, but we're trying to fix it. Yeah.
Yes.
So
we try to fix it whenever we make a mistake.
yeah.
If we can. The scenario goal, yeah, so we have to escape. At the end of that round, we read a thing. Okay, the special rules. Split down the middle of the map isn't basically a block of ice. It's made up of ice terrain. It's impassable, yet keeps the room symmetrical. Each hex has a corresponding hex on the other side of the ice wall. So at the end of each round, all characters and monsters are hit with the following effects simultaneously based on the occupancy of their current hex on the other side of the wall. So if it is occupied by an enemy on the other side of the wall from where you are standing, you both take 2 damage. If unoccupied, if the hex is unoccupied and you're on your own, you take 1 damage. And if it's occupied by an ally, you both perform heal 1. If any character becomes exhausted, the scenario is lost. And I gotta say, every time it says that, I shit myself and I'm excited at the same time. Like, it just really ups the ante.
It does. It brings a level of tension because it means everyone has to play really well, right? Like, you don't want to be the one that messes that up for everybody.
No. You don't want to be going for masteries. You don't want to be, be the one to make that selfish play for that battle goal or that treasure tile or whatever. Just, yeah, you would hate to have that happen right towards the end of the scenario, right?
Yeah, like maybe go attack something when you should just be leaving. And then there's a chance that you could lose it for everyone. You'd hate for that to happen, hypothetically.
Is that foreshadowing, Gaz? monster combinations in here, we generally had hounds, frost demons, and night demons, and we had a little surprise coming a little bit later. Initial thoughts, Gaz. What were your thoughts on the current setup of 111?
Initial thoughts when we first did it is I had no idea what was going on. But like after doing it, thoughts on the initial setup, it was awesome. So I mean, just as a snapshot of what Diddy explained, but because it didn't really make sense when we first read it, is you basically splitting the party into two groups, which was weird because we had three people, even though Dwarf said this is fine to do with three people. So maybe we don't believe Dwarf. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm not sure. Yeah, questionable. You're basically moving along these rooms that are split in half, and you've got to just really focus on the square you're on as the opposite side square. So, because if it's an enemy, you're gonna take 2 damage. If it's blank and empty, then you're gonna take 1. If it's ally, you're gonna heal. So it was really cool from the get go, and I think it was funny because the first couple of turns we were super concerned with that. And I think that's kind of the right play because it was easy to do because the rooms were smaller. But as it kind of shit got hectic, like I think that became a lot less.
I don't think we shared a space after that.
Not on purpose. No, not on purpose. So yeah, I think it was cool. It was already very thematic, and it felt really cool. And it was looking forward to seeing how it played out. The thing that I was super nervous about was the have to escape, and if you die, you're done, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that we had like a super squishy level 3 Blink Blade, and reasonably squishy Snowflake. So it was kind of, I was like, oh, like I'm not that concerned about me.
It was more the annoyance of we can't help each other.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if anyone knows how Daddy plays the Snowflake, that doesn't not really change how he plays.
Hang on. My modified deck has a lot of ally cards, ward, heals, and all that. They became absolutely useless, super useless, unless I brought a pet, right? And little things like that was annoying because, the damage that we were taking a little bit of definitely stacked up a little bit. My thoughts on this was definitely I made a note here about Dwarf, and I was just like, I was like, when we were setting it up, I was saying, I posted it in our Discord, and he said, "Oh, that one." And I read quickly, like just a snippet of the special rules and how we were split up, and I was just like, "Would this be better for an even number of us?" He was like, "Nah, you'd be fine."
Yeah, he stitched this up hard. It's like one of like 3 scenarios we've encountered so far that we just should never do with an odd number of people.
Yeah, well,
like 100%, like
not never do. It was just, it'd be more fun. I think it'd be more fun. When you got 2v2. Sorry, not that it's a competitive game or anything like that. The other thing was, we had a side that had 2 creatures, like a hound and a frost demon, and the other one had 4, 2 of each. So it was kind of like, how do we split up the party? And we made the decision to put the crab and the blink blade together, which kind of makes sense. It really does. And then put me on my own, which was annoying.
The OP level 9 Snowflake,
which was just a little bit annoying. I didn't want to be by myself, but I didn't have a choice. And then there's, how would it have gone with a trap in the room with me? That would have been nice.
One other thing before we go forward, because this is at this point of setup and turn 1 is really when we realized this. I want to do is like a little kind of sidebar, like let's have a chat, let's highlight something. What was the new trait or perk that you got?
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Now, before you explain this, also everyone who's listening, remember that Daddy's level 9 has all of his perk. This is the last perk I think that you've gotten pretty much.
No, there's another 2 perk I don't have.
Okay. All right. There's another 2 stick out. All right. Now, he's constantly been telling us that he can't support, right? Like, he's just got to kill everything. Like, on max DPS is the only way to support. I don't want to waste turns healing or
that is supporting.
Helping or putting in negative traits, conditions on monsters. And then he pulls out this doozy. Like, literally, like, 2 or 3 scenarios away from him retiring. Like, we all right, and now I'll let him explain what it is, and you can be the judge whether this might have been helpful for the last 9 levels.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear what people think, if they were in the same thought process as me as, this doesn't do damage.
This doesn't do anything. What does it do, Daddy?
So basically, during setup, all creatures in the first room are muddled. They start with muddle. And
how many creatures?
All
All of them,
All of
like
them,
everything.
every
Okay,
single one, every single
okay.
enemy starts with model, and every
And
room.
at like range 2 or 3, right?
No, global, like just
Oh,
everywhere. Yeah, yeah,
everything on the whole
100%. The
board.
whole board,
Wow.
absolutely. It's
Okay,
kind of
yeah.
bad like that, but anyway, if it was done, maybe who knows. So yeah, and then every time you reveal a new room, all of the monsters in that room are also modeled.
Wait, there's more to
There's
that.
more
There's
to
not
that.
just the at the start
No,
they
that would
get
be
muddled, but
terrible if it was just the first room. What if the first room
okay,
didn't
it's
have any?
what if? I mean, yeah. And then so every just so every room that you open, everything that gets revealed gets muddled
Yeah, not if they're
in
spawned or not
a
if
small range, right?
Yeah.
Like just next to you or
Oh,
global
only if I
again.
feel like it,
It's
basically.
global.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I don't think
Cool.
this
Yeah.
is that amazing. I think it's pretty good. I think it's
Nah,
pretty okay.
yeah. Yeah.
It's just more that
But,
first room sometimes when you open a room,
mm,
like a lot of the times they're not in range to necessarily come over and make those models worth it. I just feel like it's if it was other things, I don't know, mobilize or something, I just feel like it's,
maybe it's like add a +1 to your deck, then it
them-
obviously becomes better, right?
yeah, maybe. No. Thematically, it should have been like brittle. Everyone just gets brittled. I
That would have
think
been cool, actually. That would have been busted as.
busted.
Like, basically saying the first hit on every single monster for the scenario does double damage. So, yeah, and that would have fit right in with your carry support character because you would have been like, oh, this is good because I'll run in, open the door, and then hit everything so I get to take the padding and the meters from the brittle.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So,
But yes, I picked that, and this was the first hour I got to see it, and it was okay. I don't really know
first
how much
scenario,
of
we
it.
got to see it too.
I don't know how much it impacted. Because here's the other thing, and this may affect items, right? But here's the other thing, and I don't want to jump into a massive thing about this, right? But we itemized also quite well to get this advantage,
Yeah.
right? And that's like, those extra caveats of if they're going to be far enough before the model wears off versus a lot of the hits on us, it's not going to matter because of our disadvantaged cloaks. Yeah, they're doing things. I'm thinking, I think it's there. It's just, it's fine. It was,
Yeah,
it wasn't like a first thing I had to grab thing.
Yeah, I think you are right. That's a really good point around both me and you have the for the next 2 attacks, the attacker gets disadvantage, which would basically be wasted, in most of the time when we do that. So it probably for the first room, but maybe going into the other rooms is where it becomes useful. But yeah, anyway, no, that's good. Just want to explore that a bit.
Yep. So at the very beginning, we also have some traps in the room. We have our split groups, and actually, we're doing a good job of. I'm trying to line up my positioning with Phil. It's kind of like it's weird because we usually have communication of I'm going to go over here. Oh, but I don't want to be there. So it's kind of like, okay, well, where can I stand that you're going to be happy with? So we're both sharing the same spot, so we both don't tick off damage and take a lot of damage. That's where a lot of that conversation was going around. In the first room, also, Phil forgot how Retaliate works because Bling Blades apparently stabbed many times. And I think he left the first room, maybe, what's his health? 9? So maybe with 3 health left or something like that.
What do you mean forgot? He's never known how retaliate works. This is why the running joke is that anything he attacks with retaliate, he always kills. He hasn't learned his lesson for the first 20 scenarios because he's never been punished for it. That's why. And then now he's got a character that you're right hits little. It's like, whoa, hang on. Should we look up the rules for retaliate? That seems really bad. It's like that's how it always works.
He got wrecked. No, he did a lot of damage as well, but yeah, because he's doing multiple hits, the Frosthavens aren't dying, and he's taking damage each time. And then at the end of every round, unless we're sitting on the same space, which I think we did twice. Yeah, he was taking a fair bit. In fact, I think there were moments where he was taking 2 damage because he was sharing it with something else, like an enemy on the other side. We dispatched the first room. Pretty cool so far. Very interesting to see the second room. Second room, maybe a nice long corridor. No, it's a giant ass room. Huge, monstrous, with obstacles all over the place and still that wall going all the way through. And we see a creature we've never actually seen before. It's called a Savas Ice Storm. And in this particular scenario, it was known as the Shimmer. And I think this guy may be somehow directly related to the Mirror. And he's got 51 health, which seemed a little excessive. He's actually got 2 standees representing him, all right, and they share the 51 health. So there's one on each side of the mirror, which is pretty cool, the wall. And all conditions are shared amongst his people as well, right, amongst him. He always shares his own hex. So if he's ever moving or ever pushing or whatever, it affects the other one, which didn't happen for all the other mobs that we've fought so far. And he collectively shares and finds one primary focus, And if the hex is shared with multiple characters, they will both get hit. But he's ultimately trying to hit the one dude. And here's the kicker, he can summon wind demons. When he finally dies, he actually drops a gold treasure tile. And right now there's 2 locked doors at the end of the room. And we don't know how to open them. We assume it's when we kill this guy and loot his thing. And there's also a night demon on each side in this room as well, which we don't see too many of. We saw way more in Gloomhaven than we did in this.
Yeah, I hate night demons. So
this was cool.
Yeah, this was really cool. It was a really cool boss monster. Like, I wouldn't say boss, but like, mini boss. The rules were really cool for it. He had some cool abilities. I loved that it was mirrored and he was doing all the same things. So you couldn't mess with his space.
No.
Like, you couldn't land on his space and just be doing 2 damage to him, for example. So yeah, I think it was really cool. Like, it was a really cool way of kind of going like, here, this mirror thing, and here's just like taking up the mirror image thing to the next level. So,
and this is where the group kind of fell apart a little bit because we had to deal with the night demons that were coming at us. Now, I had a normal one and you guys had the elite one, which, mind you, the elite has 14 health or something and the normal had 7, which was a bit of a difference. I'm definitely happy with the 7 health one. But the hardest part was when we were trying to coordinate how we were going to deal with this. You like being in melee range, which meant you were going to make a bolt for the boss. I am too busy dealing with my dude in the back and I think a dog that I left behind or whatever. And that already is starting to separate the group and feel sort of in no man's land. So all 3 of us are collectively at the end of each round probably going to take 1 damage each. And that seemed to be a theme because it was very difficult to then get back onto the same track.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, one thing about the shimmer that was extra cool that I don't think you went through was when they attack. So when he attacks, if there's, I guess in short, the way we worked it out was 2 targets that are like on the same space in the same range, right? Then you actually hit both of you because there's 2 minis. Yeah. So I thought that was because it just played into movement a bit. Because what we had to do was it's like, okay, well, let's go forward, but we don't want to
Share
have
a spot.
on each side of the map be like just as close. So it would have been really interesting, right? Because if we had, say, had 1 melee on one side and 1 melee on the other side, so say Phil had gone the other way, we would have found ourselves in that awkward spot where we were both needed to be in melee to do what we wanted to do, and so we're probably taking double damage because we're both getting hit by his abilities. So
That's true.
that was another thing that I think we had to work out once he spawned.
But I didn't actually think about it that way, but you're right. It's kind of like the whole scenario rule is if you're sharing a spot, you want that because you're healing and you're not taking damage anymore. So it's the opposite, but the risk is you're sharing a spot, you're both going to get smashed. So yeah, it's really interesting. So yeah, it was really fun in this room dealing with this guy. It was a lot of abilities being used as per normal, punting, hazardous terrain. Again, this is another scenario. I had to make my own hazardous terrain. Now, the good news is I could do whatever the hell I wanted. It wasn't upsetting anyone. Like, no one cared, which was fantastic until he started spawning my favorites, which were the wind demons, which don't give a shit about hazardous terrain because they're flying. And that was the one part that had me worried. Other than watching Phil's health bounce between 2 and 3, it was, how am I going to deal with these wind demons? Because it was just, they're high armored. Yeah, it's just a problem. You guys didn't seem to have much of a trouble.
I mean, we both have decent damage. I mean, the blink blade's just getting started, but I can already see the potential there. And I've got some pretty big hits. So it wasn't really going to be that much of an issue for us. But we had 2 people that didn't rely on difficult terrain to kill things. So.
Yes. Yeah, it sucks to be me.
But I think also at this point as well, because, with the you've got to escape ones, there's always a question of like, okay, do we just book it, right? Do we just run and go for the end and that's it? And, with things like birds, that does make that a bit easier because, you can obviously jump over and move really far. But I think when we figured we had to kill this guy to unlock the doors, but also all the other mobs were like, we may as well take our time. Like, it wasn't a quick, we've got to rush. It was like, okay, let's take our time and make sure we're not just taking heaps of damage for no reason. We're going to tick over time anyway. So
that's true. So yeah, we basically, once we had a bit more control over the room, It was actually getting easier to start laying into this guy, and actually all of us, when we were laying into this guy, thank God there was no retaliator or anything like that. I think he may have had 1 or 2 shield or something, but we really did lay into him, and he started to drop. And on my turn, this is Snowflake solo on his own turn, I got the last hit on him with a top action, which meant I hadn't used my bottom action yet. So I decided to then use my bottom action to go and pick up the thing. This was a mistake because I looted I looted the mirror, and we read the next section, and ultimately, I don't know, shit got weird, but the door's unlocked, which is great, and I ended up on both sides of the mirror, and I'm still on my original side, but there's a duplicate version of me on the other side, represented by a token, which I then replaced with the Drifter miniature, just because why not? It was like the old me, right? Yeah. So it kind of followed the same rules as the Shimmer, in that I wasn't gonna, because I can't share a space with anyone else, I'm not gonna take the penalty, but they can both be hit and potentially immobilized and moved around and all that kind of stuff. And I'm on my own. Now, here's the other thing. When we opened the door, we were expecting maybe a little room at the end. No, we got the giant Cheetos rooms. And they were like clawing their way out. And of course, the escape hexes are right at the end. And on my side, I had hounds. And on your side, you had frost demons. Which I think is a little bit bullshit, because I got the harder side in terms of for escaping purposes, not killing.
I mean, technically you were on our side too, so.
That's true. But at least I had other people there helping with clearing it. So all of a sudden, because once we cleared this room and killed this Shimmer, it actually felt like, yeah, I think we're in control of this. We got this, provided we don't have a bullshit room at the end. You know, don't know how many rooms are left, but we're assuming that room was going to be the bulk of taking up most of the game. It was now escaping.
I mean, the thing was that was like, I kind of looked at it and went like, oh, this should be pretty easy, because you were right near the door, and I know the Snowflake has a burn card that's move 8 with a jump, right?
Oh, that's right.
And so I was like, no, this will be easy, because Daddy will just jump to the end, and we'll move around. And like, I had heaps of HP. Phil was starting to drop, but was confident he could get to the end. I was like, I don't see this being a real problem, right? Because we can just jump over everything.
Yes, so the Snowflake actually has a card. It's amazing for this, absolutely amazing for this. And I have brought it on most scenarios. It's called Lifting Gust, I believe. I don't remember the initiative, but at the top is the punt that I like to use. It's a 4-push punt. It's really good. Also, another reason to bring it. And the bottom is an 8-move jump, right?
8.
Lost card, 8. Yeah,
like,
with my boots, it's 9. Like, that's 9 whole hexes. From the position I was standing in, I could have actually made it to the exit, like just like that.
That's it.
Yeah,
and I was just waiting for you to, like, I was like, this is perfect. I mean, because we knew the objective was to escape. So when you would go through and choose your cards, you would be like, probably prioritize high movement cards with jump.
Yeah, yep. And I didn't bring it, guys.
Yeah, that makes sense. 100%. Yeah, I can see why you wouldn't bring that card.
I didn't bring the card. I don't know why. I should have seen the call that said the objective is to escape. This is kind of like, you know, the birds with the ally one from the one before. I'm struggling to pick probably the cards that will trivialize some of these scenarios. And yeah, I didn't bring the move 8, which meant we're doing this the hard way.
Now, the only reason that was a really big issue was that Daddy's life was starting to get a bit low. Hounds go really quickly, and we know they have an early immobilize.
Move 6.
Because he was by himself, right? The thing we were worried about was that they pull that, they surround him, they do heaps of damage. I'm pretty sure there was still like a flying wind demon up at the time as well. So there was just this one fear that it could go really bad, and if they drew the wrong card, it could just be auto lose. So it wasn't so much like, okay, you've screwed us by not taking the right cards. It was just like that was like a get out of that situation type card. And so then we were like, okay, cool. Well, now we have to run the gauntlet and actually play it kind of properly in a way. So yeah, it was definitely like, oh, that would have been nice. But all right, let's go. We've dealt with harder things before, so
yeah. I vaguely remember also that I had a setup with some of the hazards that I'd set up around me, and to use birds to jump over the dogs and get the hell out. And before I I think it was I did a short rest and you pulled it, and I just said, "Don't whatever you do, don't pull like birds or something." And you pulled it, which meant that I needed to burn a health to save it. And I said, "Just don't pull the other card that I really need because I'm gonna do a double disarm. It's my level 9 card. I'm gonna do a double disarm because it's lined up perfectly." Oh, you okay? Cool. You took that. And I think it was 2 times in a row you did that. So I gave up trying to do my short rests with you while I'm getting my health chunked. And then I gave it to Phil. And Phil actually towards the end like burned birds. And I was like, no, I'm fine. I've got another move 3, but this is just a little bit later. But yeah, I had to get over them. And I did cop and immobilize at one of these stages, which was when things started getting scary. And I luckily had the hand to discard for it, and I did actually discard a few cards. I got lucky with one of the draws. Actually, it ended up becoming a 1 damage when I had 2 health, so that was nice. But I was teetering on like running around with 1 health with 3 dogs and a wind demon, something like that, like around. It was pretty scary, and all the while Phil was I think down near the exit going, should I leave? Should I not leave? Should I leave? But yeah,
Yeah, and that's I think the thing that was scary was not so much you didn't have heaps of cards in that, even though your life was low, it was that they very easily could just like chain immobilize you, or they could immobilize you at the wrong point and then just all stacks in, and then you burn through 3 or 4
yes,
cards in one go. So
yeah.
it's like we've got a decent amount of cards, as long as I don't get hit like 5 times, right, for too much damage. So
Absolutely. That was the part that was messed up the most.
mm.
You still have Frost Demons on your side. They still have Retaliate, and Phil was, I think, still incredibly low on health and still sharing a spot with no one, so taking 1 damage each time.
Mhm.
I think he discarded the card from that 1 damage at one point. I think he had
Yep.
2 cards left. Do you want to just let me know exactly what happened over there?
I think he got to the point where he could leave, and then had about 4 cards left, and went, okay, that's fine. I can move up and hit this one, and then the next turn just move onto the empty space. And the retaliate damage he took from hitting the monster put him on 1, which meant that the next turn he had to discard a card, which meant that I think he had to short rest and discard 1. So I think he ended up going down to 2 cards.
And then
But the
he had to
problem
beat
was,
the initiative, right?
and he was slow. So if the
Yes.
people, yeah, that was the problem. He's like, I just go fast. And then you were like, don't you need a token to go fast? He's like, oh. So he got himself in a position where if he went after the Frost Demons, I was too far away and I wasn't going to be going overly quick. So I couldn't save him. So it was a case of like, if they go before him and they hit him, he's on 1 life.
Yeah.
He died.
He's dead.
Right? Yeah. There was just no way of avoiding that. And so he was kind of shitting himself a bit like, did I just book this scenario
Right at the end.
because, like, yeah, right then because I just wanted to hit something one more time?
Yeah.
Because it didn't even give me anything. Like, again, it was probably one of those things that in hindsight you look at and go, that probably wasn't the most optimal move. But I can completely see why he did it, because he's like, I got 4 cards, this will be fine. And then it was the extra retaliate though that popped him down to
Yeah,
1,
it's
which meant
Retaliate again.
yeah, exactly, because he doesn't understand the rules. Like that, retaliate's OP, right?
Yeah.
Because he was on 3. So yeah, that was the one. I popped down to 1 and was like, oh, now I have to discard at the end of the round because I'm not sharing a space. Oh, that's now I have to shot rest. Now I'm down to 2. Oh, okay, I can't even cop a hit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it got to be hairy.
Yeah. But hey, we made it. We got out. Phil
Yeah.
escaped, which was fantastic. I managed to get away as well from the wolves, and then Gaz finished up his thing, and we actually completed this side scenario 111. What were your thoughts on scenario 111, Gaz?
Yeah, it was really cool. Like for a side scenario, I think they tend to explore some different kind of mechanics or ideas. I think they need to. I don't know. It's almost their place to experiment, and I think some of them have been really cool. And I would put this in that bucket.
100%. I think this is one of the most unique and well thought out ones. It was just, like you said, very thematic. The mechanics from the mirror thing, the shared spaces, and then of course they just throw a little bit of everything at us. And the fact that it was an escape one as well, that it wasn't a kill all, or it wasn't it was an escape one with the right kind of creatures in there. It was just from beginning to end. Look, we made it harder than it needed to be, but it was tense, and I think that's what made it really enjoyable as well.
I think thinking about the design in it, I think the choice to put one big dude who has heaps of health actually made it more enjoyable because we didn't get bogged down with admin. Because say
That's
he's got
true.
50 health, right? If you go, oh, well, instead of having one dude, we're going to put in 4 or 5 more monsters, suddenly the what share is it square is everyone sharing? Where are they all? 2 health, 1 health, doing 1 damage to everything every turn. It just it starts to get that like every turn there's this pain in the ass mechanic we have to like manage
Yep.
manually. But we kind of skipped that because there wasn't a lot of mobs in the first couple of rooms,
Mm.
right? Like maybe like 8 or 9 or something like total across both rooms, and then it got down to him. So yeah, I think that the mechanic was cool. It could have got out of control if they had put too many things in it.
That's true. No,
So yeah,
it was very cool. I think it wouldn't have changed much if we had 4 people. Although, would Mark have had the cards to get out on my side?
yeah. I don't know about that. Like a slow moving character, although he can move when he needs to. I think he's got a couple of big movement cards, and if because it's an escape one, he'd know that he has to. So I feel
Mm,
like it might have been
he'd
a
bring
case
his
of
move 8.
moving.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, no, that's good. So
Yeah, okay. Yeah, 2 people would have been interesting as well, actually. Is this normal scenario? Now, I was thinking, obviously, it's a no one, right? Because he's just going
no,
to get ticked down.
yeah.
But he's not a character. So it says characters and monsters are affected by this. He's a figure. So therefore he wouldn't. But then he would probably be on my side to even up the numbers and then get booked by the hounds at the end. Like he wouldn't actually escape. I think Ormi doesn't do well with escape ones.
No, he definitely does not. But
No.
yeah, like, I don't know. If he's not getting ticked down, then maybe it's okay because there wasn't that many monsters, so you could kind of manipulate the threatened areas and targeting. So
Yeah, okay. I think it
and
also...
he doesn't have to escape though. That's the thing,
No.
right? Like we just have to. So I think that's again, if he falls behind a little bit, then we're just clearing ahead of him, and it's fine.
I think he... Oh, damn it. I forgot what I was going to say. But it was... Yeah, never mind.
I agree.
Battle goals. Phil had wallflower, which is always a tricky one to monitor, but he's monitoring it, which is probably good. And if each of your turns adjacent to a wall, objective, or obstacle, and it's a 2 ticker, he got it. Really well done, especially on something like this. Although it was nice and narrow, and he always seemed to have that. There was like a couple of obstacles littered throughout the place. So yeah, that worked out for him. Gaz, do you remember what you had?
Loot heaps.
Yeah, collect more loot tokens than any other character.
Super easy when no one else wanted to loot, and I had a vacuum cleaner.
That's right. Well, there wasn't a great deal of mobs until the end. Anyway, so yeah. And then Daddy, who the F cares is what I wrote. Otherwise known as Perfectionist. Now I picked one because the only goal now for me picking things like Mark was, this is what I was going to say before with the scenario effect. It wouldn't affect bone shape of pets and all that kind of stuff because they're not characters. So it actually would make sense for allies and pets that and all that. Perfectionist, end the scenario with your hit point value equal to your max. Well, I did not do that. I think I finished on 1 health or 2 health as I was leaving. So yeah, that was a bit of a... I don't know why I always think that that's one that I can do. I think it's because I have like 1 heal card or something, and I'm like, yeah, I can keep myself up. There's no problem.
I'm a healer. This should be easy, right?
But the point is, I need to pick these to get them out of the pool, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, then they become really hard. So DPS, I'm just going to go through some damage numbers. So 42 for Phil on his Blink Blade. Nice and good. Nice and good. Take that. 68 on the Snowflake. 64 on the Crab. And damage taken, everyone took roughly, on average, about 23 damage. So that's a lot. But, you know.
No, I have 24 health, so it's not heaps.
No. You do. Apparently I didn't heal once, which that's why I'm not reading out the heal meters because they're... I 100% healed myself, so
okay, yeah, true.
I had to. We had our outpost phase. I'll skip the event part. I forgot what we upgraded this week.
So did I.
Okay. It probably wasn't
I think the shop, and we didn't do a second one because our morale's starting to dip and we're just coming into winter.
That's right. We're at the last week of summer. So the next scenario we'll do will be our first winter.
And we're not behind anymore, I think, because we've done like 3 or 4 outpost scenarios of building 2 buildings. So because we fell behind and got like prosperity locked, we kind of, but now we've burnt through heaps of morale.
And materials.
Yeah, actually, that was the other point. I think we were going through it and we're like, do we burn? I was like, we have no wood. like at
Yeah.
all. 0. So it doesn't matter what we want to do.
Yeah, mats are drying up right before winter, which is good.
I think we did this last time, didn't
Yeah,
we? We're like,
yeah.
oh, winter's about to start. Quick, burn all our resources.
It's because we
So
don't get
yeah,
attacked in summer, so we have time to stockpile a whole bunch of stuff.
and then we get to burn it all before we need it. Yeah. So
Good.
good.
Now, I'm just going to jump to not a retirement, but a re-rolling or a new rolling. Okay. So we're at a stage right now where we're trying to plan what the next couple of weeks look like. And we have the last scenario for the Algox questline, which we are waiting for Mark to be involved before we actually do that one. We want to go in there as 4. It's not about characters or anything like that. It's about, it feels like the epic part 2, I guess, one of the main stories. So we want to make sure that we do that with 4 people. Which means we assume this is 100% assumption that the fist is going to come from there because it's got to do with the ice speakers and snow speakers and all that kind of stuff. So that's why we haven't done that one yet. And that was originally going to be my next character that I was hoping to get, but the timings are completely out of whack. The next part of it is my retirement PQ, we believe comes back at the end of I think it's in the outpost phase for next week's or this coming session that we're playing, the first one in winter. Which will mean that the week after that, we can continue on the PQ things, which means I'm back on the Snowflake to retire, but then have nothing that I ideally necessarily want to retire into. And after having a little chat with a couple of people, I've made a call and surprised everyone by saying that I'm probably going to, because I was going to plan on making the fist and having it there to play so that I'm at least working towards a PQ and getting something out of these scenarios, whether it be XP, whether it be loot progression, battle goals, all that kind of stuff, instead of right now getting no battle goal progression, no XP, and all of that on the Snowflake. The Snowflake is done. He's just waiting to finish off the PQ. And yeah, it's all a weird timing thing. So ultimately, I surprised everyone and said, I've decided I'm going to roll the shackles. And Gaz and I did an unboxing actually on Friday, which we recorded. I'm probably going to release that. I'm releasing it on YouTube. It's a really raw unboxing when we open it and we discuss some of the cards that we're seeing and kind of how it plays, because it was incredibly exciting. I was very giddy the whole way through. And I'll throw that up on the YouTube. But upon editing that video, I actually heard the audio to it, and I was like, this actually sounds like it could just go as a bonus episode on the pod as well. So I'm probably gonna release it there. As it's just 2 guys discussing, the shackles and our just initial thoughts on that, which is really exciting. Really excited to play the shackles. If you have a shackles in your group, that's amazing. It sounds like a lot of fun, playing with a lot of conditions and having a lot of flexibility in its play style and not being too tied to a mechanic or a shtick so far. And we'll be taking that for a whirl on tomorrow.
Yeah, look forward to it.
I have a couple of listener questions specific for Gaz.
Okay, let's go. Let it rip.
These are from people you may or may not know. So, you are at a high school party, and you're going to have 7 minutes in heaven with a Frosthaven character. Who is it, and why?
This is 100% made up by you.
No, it's legit not.
I mean, it has to be Geminate, right? Menage a Trois. Like,
yeah, okay. But what form do they like? Does it matter or?
nah, why not?
Okay.
Just chop and change.
And bed bugs, right?
Yeah, that's it. Why not?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think any of them are like appealing in any way. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm glad we got that one out of the way.
Yeah, I'm glad we got that question as well. Thank you for anonymous
uncomfortable.
listener. Yeah.
Would you rather have the null as the 5th card of your deck every time you shuffle, or never see your crit?
Yeah, I'd have to. I feel I can 100% play around that.
Which one?
The null.
Okay.
I can 100% play around it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. That'd be easy. Yeah. If you knew you were getting that on your 5th hit, like you could just plan.
Well, you do hit a lot of targets at many times for, I guess, kind of sort of below average amounts. So, it's not.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. The drive by there, but yeah. Okay.
It's more of a callback.
Just give yourself advantage on your 4th hit.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you're done.
Yeah. That's fair. I don't know how I'd feel about that with anyone, actually. I think it's quite. I don't know if I could plan around it. I suppose if you can memorize it and plan around it, that's good.
Memorizing it's the fifth card. Like
I don't
it
know.
would be worse actually if you were to say you seed the null in your top 5 cards. That would be bad. So you randomly get it, and you're guaranteed to get it in your first 5.
Yeah, okay.
If you get to your 5th, then you're okay because you know and you can work around it then. But you couldn't plan from that from the start.
Yeah, okay. Is this a weird house rule segment where we're coming up with terrible house rules to make the game worse?
Yeah, that's right. If you want to have less fun, do this. Yeah.
Can you quickly, on the spot, design a class and tell me its mechanic shtick?
On the spot.
Look,
Alright,
I'll
so
feel the air.
it's a
Okay, you got something?
no, I've got it. Yeah, cool. So it's a turtle.
Yeah. It's a
Alright.
turtle race. So you're introducing a whole new race?
Yeah, sure. The turtle race. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, brand new race. Yeah, cool. Why not, right? When I'm making a class up on the spot, I may as well make a race up on the spot too.
Yeah, of course.
So it's
Okay.
turtle race. It's a defensive type character.
Oh,
Its
really?
shtick
That's interesting.
is that any of its cards can be used as shield.
Any of its
Uh,
cards can be used as shield. Got
yeah,
you.
any of
Okay.
its cards can be used as shield, right? So when you play them, and they, yeah, it also can go into its shell and then can bounce around the room like a Mario Kart turtle shell.
Ooh. Okay. That sounds like a lost card though, and that has to be.
No, it's every turn. It's a persistent.
Yeah. I'd
Yeah.
still do the door one. I think like there needs to be a door maker. Like a dude that can summon like an Aether. He'd be an Aether because these guys always seem to summon stuff out of portals. And he can just go door. You know, because of Bastion, right? It will single-handedly be the one that the class that fixes Bastion. And
Yeah.
you know, you can just on a door, you're the only ones that can open it from range, which is really cool already in itself. You can also close doors, which is kind of busted potentially. But if you close a door, anything adjacent to that door cops the door in their face. And takes like 3 wood damage. I come with wood tokens, and it adds like splinters to them. It's kind of like poison, but they can play tweezers to pull them out.
Yeah. So, I mean, oddly, really detailed answer to the question that was directed at me. Based on, yeah, okay.
I just wanted to make one that sounded real.
That's right. Man, I love being a turtle.
Yeah.
Go.
The crafting system in Frosthaven, how can it be improved? Is it any good?
Yeah, I think it's really good. Yeah.
Really?
I think, yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's really good. It makes items not be the, there's not best in slot insta buys. Gloomhaven, especially when you get towards the mid half of Gloomhaven and onwards, you create a new character and you just go through and you buy a minor stam, a major stam. Like you're just buying the items you want, and then 2 scenarios later, you have all your best gear.
That is
Right.
the items, though. We're talking about the crafting system of how to obtain them. So,
Yeah.
like, you know how you need previous items to make the next upgraded one?
Yeah.
So that's the system in place right now where you need, sometimes it just tells you instead of the you need wood and metal, it'll say you need 101 and you need 63. And you're like, oh, I need those items first as almost like a tech tree as a system.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
I think items in Frosthaven are less important than were in Gloomhaven, and I think they've been toned down.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think making them harder to get isn't as much of a bad thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Like if they were easier to get, I mean, you could probably with more thought, I could probably make a better argument on that. But I think that it's fine.
I'm torn a little bit between like listening to what you're saying like that. The issue I have with the items right now is when you see the item in the shop and you're going through them all, it's literally going, oh, this uses item 61 and a corpse cap to make it. I don't know what item 61 is, and there's no really quick way for me to work out where item 61 is. That's my only issue. And I find I have to backtrack a fair bit and go through, turn all the items around and go through them to find out which one is 61, then work out what mats I need for that, only to find that there's another item requirement for that. And that system, it's cool, it's just clunky, and maybe it's just the way we've set it up, but I can't work out how best to have it set up like that.
I think yeah. So it's a good point. It could probably be improved. I like the idea of it.
Yes.
Right. I like the idea of the way it works, and then then maybe there's a couple of issues with getting what you want or being able to find out what you want and craft but yeah, I think I like the way that it's set up. It just maybe could be done a bit cleaner.
Yeah, okay. Maybe similar to the way the alchemy table's done, but with items, where you've actually got like tables
Yeah,
of wood and all that kind of stuff. And this one says 3 wood. If you have 3 wood and you have 4 metal, and then you open up this window and you unlock an item or something like that.
maybe. Yeah.
That could be interesting. So before we jump into the last section of today's episode, where are we going next? Are we doing one of your PQ ones?
Nah, because if I do that, I'll retire.
Oh, you've only got one left?
Yeah, I need one more before I retire. So we
Oh.
have to wait till after we've done the boss.
Oh, okay.
This is why the timing is super awkward, but it's fine now that you're playing the shackles because it was going to be a pain because we have to do one side scenario now, then we'd have to do the boss, then we'd have to do your PQ, right? Because we needed to retire you, and then we would do mine, and I'm like maybe 1 or 2 scenarios away from 9. I think maybe 1. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna get stuck playing at least another like 4 or 5 scenarios, and I don't really want to do that. So,
so is that the ordering? We're doing just something random. We're doing the boss the following week with Mark. Then we're doing your PQ to retire you.
I don't know. We'll see how we go. I mean, once we've done the boss, we can figure it out because it depends on how you're going with the shackles. If we do yours, like if we do mine, then I'll retire, right? Which is what we're trying to do. We're trying to retire characters, and then we can do that, and we can go off and do your ones.
Yeah, okay.
But we'll have a look at it once we've we'll have a look at the thing tomorrow and plan it out a bit.
Okay. So everyone, this is the part where we are jumping into Summer Outpost Event 53. Okay. And this one has to do with, just to put it loosely, if people want to hang around or not, a demon that has come to Frosthaven. It appears. Okay. So if you're still not with us, yep. So yeah, we basically, introducing this demon. So this event kind of caught us off guard because the actual Outpost event card itself explains how a demon has spawned, and he's a very, very sassy demon. He's just,
I love this character.
like,
my favorite NPC in Frosthaven so far.
He comes in and immediately starts asking for the mayor and our king or whatever. And then he kind of pauses because he's not even sure whether or not this is a town. And I find that relatively interesting. I have played just snippets of this in here. See if we can hear this.
When a portal opens up in the side wall, out steps the thunderous footsteps of a full-sized winged demon, complete with 4 hooves and a terrifying trident. You draw your weapons for the fight.
Oh, you eager rabbits, I'm not here for you.
The demon doesn't bother looking at you, instead surveying the room.
I'm a demon prince, and I'm here to kill the leader of this.
He trails off, looking out the window with disdain.
Is this even a city?
So
good. So good. And that continues all the way through, right? Like, it's so good how dismissive he is of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like where even am I? Like, who are you?
And ultimately, yeah, he's investigating, I think, a mate of his who, someone who hasn't done their quest or their PQ or something like that.
Yeah.
And someone's delayed it or something along those lines.
I think, it's basically one of his friends, someone has killed someone, and so he's basically going here to not get revenge, but I think he needs someone to pay the price. And basically what he says is he comes in, he's like, okay, so go fetch your king or your mayor, or if like it's a council, just bring all of them and I'll kill them all just to be sure.
Yeah.
Like it's so dismissive of like there's a thing. It's just like go bring me someone important and I'll kill them and then I'll be on my way.
That's right. And we have to we made a deal with him as part of the event. Now, what was really cool about this is like we made a deal with him at the very start, and it wasn't just done and dusted. We made a deal. We said we will find the killer. He just said, look, I'll give you some time. If not, I will kill all of you. And it was kind of like, okay, cool. And the options were turn to this section to check the crime scene, or go to this section to ask Sather about the incident. And it was like, I'm sorry?
Yeah.
What?
Because what was interesting is we were seeing the start of this as a normal PQ, normal event, right, where it was like, do you want to agree to and help him, or do you want to do whatever the other option was, right? And we're like, oh, we're looking at our traits, or what are they called, characteristics, whatever the things are. Like, oh, we've got investigation and persuasion and
Yeah.
stuff. Oh, maybe we can do that. Okay, cool. And then you flipped it over, you're like, oh, okay, this is weird. This has got more decisions.
It became a full investigation. We talked about this a while back with
like 2 weeks ago.
How funny is that?
Like, I was like, oh, the whole thing should be like this choose your own adventure.
Correct.
Book. And then Frosthaven was like, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Did you want a choose your own adventure like outpost event?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, we do.
And it was full on because we made a decision to go to the crime scene. We found out that there were some lodges about betting and all that kind of stuff from the person that was there, and by the rooms all burnt down, and it was taking us on this journey. And then every time it came to a conclusion to that particular part, it was saying, now where do you want to go? Do you want to go talk to Captain Olmsted and actually get, almost like the rosters of the staff and where the guards were during these time periods, or do you want to go over here instead? And it was kind of like, holy crap, I then passed the book over to Gaz by this stage, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm done. I want this, and now I don't want this. So I want to sit here and watch it happen. While Gaz is like, get the map over, bring the board over. So we literally had pieces on the Frosthaven map of where the barracks were and where the main gate was and where everyone who was on this list was claiming to be, while we were trying to deduce and work out the timings of it and everything. And it just kept going.
Yeah, it was cool because what it came down to is we made this deal with the demon after we investigated. He's like, all right, you got till sundown to figure this out. Otherwise, I'm just going to kill everyone. We're like, oh, okay, that doesn't seem like that was the deal, but sure. And essentially what it does is it gives you 3 people, right? It says, okay, there's 3 people, and you get like a log of because you talk to the captain and you get a log of where their whereabouts were, but it's like this timestamped log. Because as soon as it started talking, you were like, oh, here, this is yours.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. And then so, we went through, and it was like kind of track where everyone was, how long it took everyone to do everything and all that kind of stuff, which was awesome because you can kind of, and the map was more visual to see so that it wasn't all just up in the air. And then it gives you the options of like, okay, well, where do you want to go next?
Where do you want to go
it's
next?
essentially saying, what do you want to investigate?
Yeah.
And then you needed to go to these different places and speak to these people, and they would tell you more about the interactions of these particular suspects. And then it gets to a point where it says, all right, cool, who's guilty, right? And you have to basically pick a person and go down that thing. And I won't say any much more about that in case people want to listen to this, haven't done it, and don't want it completely spoiled.
Yeah.
But then, and that's what you do. And you essentially offering someone up to the demon to kill and hoping you get it right so he doesn't murder everyone.
Yeah. And as a result, like, I've got more snippets here, actually. Hang on.
You look at the demon, dumbfounded. He sees he's not getting through and continues.
You see, someone in this hovel killed my new friend, Taro. But I don't get his soul until he finishes his mortal business. So I need to kill someone responsible for his death. Then I'll be on my way. Normally I simply kill off the leadership. That counts nicely. In any case, let's get on with it. Bring me your king or governor or chieftain. If you have a council, go ahead and bring me all of them just to be sure. I just need the people in charge, really, and you could go back to whatever bipedals do for fun.
You find...
And then I'm just going to play the end because the end was probably the thing that capped off such an amazing thing, and it doesn't reveal who did it.
Finally regain your wits and try to explain that he can't just kill the mayor to get revenge. Then turns to you.
It seems you assisted me, which necessitates compensation. I know all too well the consequences of leaving an open-ended favor.
He plucks a blood-red gem off his scepter and hands it to you. Flecks of light swirl inside, and it feels too heavy for its size.
I trust that will be sufficient. Our work here concludes. Enjoy your silly town.
And with that, he drags through a portal back to his home plane.
So good.
Enjoy your silly town. Oh, I love it. It's so dismissive. It was such a cool, like a well-written and voiced character that just fit the whole scene really well. It made it not serious, but serious. So,
and that was the other thing. Fortello really brought that to life. Like, they just made it. They did such a good job with that particular one, with just just all the voices and the sound effects and just the sound of fire and everything like that. It really, really brought it to life and actually got a lot of laughs out of us as it was happening. And I think it was just blowing all our minds that we actually finally had, like, it has me wondering what other surprises are in store for this game.
Yeah, it is a good point. I think we need to stop shitting on the outpost and the road event because every time we do, we are finding. So I think there are they have done a lot to go outside of the pick a green berry, right? Pick a red or a green berry. I think it's a combination of all those things. So I'm happy to keep talking about the road events and outpost events on a per basis, but I'm probably going to stop making predictions about what we should or shouldn't see until we've seen it all, and then we can talk about what was missing. That kind of stuff. So it's the only thing I'll cap that off with, though, right, is that we've also been having the discussion the last few weeks about how the outpost phase can seem like extra admin that you don't want to do at the end of a session once you've just played for 3 hours.
Yeah.
While we enjoyed this and
If
we
it was
kind of
every
finished a little
week.
bit earlier, yeah, like that's the thing, right? Like, so again, probably Isaac listening and going like, I told you didn't want to choose your own adventure book every single outpost event, but this one could land pretty badly. Like, it was fun, but if you started this one when your group was cooked and ready to stop playing, it kind of maybe brings it back to life.
It's hard to tell, right?
Yeah, it's kind of I feel like it's more just a timing and player group perspective of when this comes up rather than any issue with the actual event.
If it was
the event is brilliant.
And I agree. If it was more common, this was like the 5th one we had, then the timing will come in a little bit more. Where it's like, oh God, it's one of these. I hope it's a quick one. Yeah, then I can sort of see it potentially doing that. But no, at the moment it's just come out of nowhere and it was absolutely brilliant. It was really, really cool to be able to have so many different options. As we're dissecting this, not just A or B, it was literally time and time again, and it actually caused us to actually have some discussions and think about it. So, no, well done, Satire team. Well, we will wrap it up there. Thank you for listening to another episode of Master's Degree in Rolling Terribly. If you would like to contact us, email us at contact@rollingterribly.com. We can be found on Instagram at am_dirt, Twitter at umdirt, and youtube.com/amdirt. Feel free to DM me in all those channels or Discord or anything like that for access to or an invite to the Discord. It'd be great to have you there. I have been super awesome Teddy. I've been joined again by kind of awesome Gaz.
And remember, when it comes to rolling terribly, it's all in the wrist.